No, you're not in an alternate timeline. West Virginia is a pretty big favorite versus Colorado. Is Vegas right?
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name's Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, but this is not just a Locked On West Virginia show. We're also doing a little bit of crossover action, guys. We'll get there in a second. Thank you guys so much for joining in on this episode of Locked On West Virginia and Locked On Buffaloes crossover, or Locked On Buffs crossover, if you will, brought to you by our good friends at FanDuel. And right now, new customers can bet just $5. That'll make you holla. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 to use across the app to get started. Okay, guys, so we teased it. One of my favorite people that I work with is going to join here, and let's be nice. They're having a hard time. They're having a rough season. Are you surviving the season, Kevin Borba?
Not all of us could put together top 25 wins, Paul. Not all of us could be West Virginia. You know, it's tough out here. It's tough out here.
I've never seen two teams with 3-6 records move so differently at the same time. Like on paper, we both stink. But one team has a little bit of hope, and another one is like wishing one hand, blanking the other right now. See which one fills up faster if you're Colorado.
Yeah, I think it's like at a weird point where West Virginia seems to have found momentum, right, with Scotty Fox. I'm sure we'll get to that a little bit later. And you guys have found something. I don't know if you found it, but you found something to like keep you going. Whereas Colorado has seemingly hit the wall where it's like, how many more weeks do we have? How many more games are left? Like, when can we start talking about the transfer portal again? Like, when are we going to start rebuilding this roster? Because I think when you go from 9-4 to 3-6 as they are right now, I think that's pretty discouraging. A lot of the transfers came in expecting to sort of continue that trajectory. So it's tough. It's hard to go from that far of a fall off.
Yeah. I'd say of all the storylines in this one, and by the way, guys, on this episode, we're going to be talking about not only the storylines here during this segment, but in segment 3, we'll get to our game keys and prediction. So stick around. You don't want to miss that. Also, in the next segment, we're going to talk about some players we need to watch in this game. Believe it or not, Colorado has several very singularly talented players, or mercenaries, as you told me off camera. Makes a lot of sense. But before we get there, like I said, we're talking about both these teams only have 3 wins. That might be the biggest storyline in this game, or it might be, what does FanDuel have on the spread right now? Can you look that up while we're in real time?
Yeah, let me get
okay. Because it was at 6.5 or 7-ish. I'm curious to see if that line continues to move as we get closer to game day towards the Mountaineers or towards you guys, because 6.5, 7 seems a little big for maybe just, I don't know. I was thinking maybe 3 points, 4 points. 7 is, I don't know. Because if you look at the way both teams have played this year, sure, you guys are playing bad now, but you've also played 2 teams that are much better this year in Arizona recently. And then who'd you play before that blew you out?
Utah. And we're at 6.5 now.
They've blown us out too. 6?
Yeah. 6.5. Yeah.
Okay. So it's still 6.5. It hasn't moved. Is Vegas right?
Vegas has to be right. I feel like they always know what they're doing over there. That's why they are the $1 billion corporation or $1 trillion corporation. I don't know what they are actually. But yeah, there's like, I think
probably trillion.
Yeah, you touched on it a little bit earlier, and the mercenary comment was something that Chad Brown, who played in the NFL for 15 years, is in the Colorado Hall of Fame. He said that on my show today, and it was just sort of like, this team is not where it needs to be because they have a bunch of guys who are worried about themselves. And so you get to that point, and we're seeing that right now, right? We're seeing guys sort of give up on plays. We're seeing guys quit on the team, if you will. The injury report is getting longer and longer by the week for Colorado, and I don't think everyone's injured, if you know what I mean. I think there's a few guys that have kind of already checked out, and so Vegas is right. I think Vegas has every reason to believe in West Virginia, especially coming off that huge win. When you come off of 2 games where you're outscored 105-24, like, this is going to be, and West Virginia fans are going to laugh at me. I said like 4 weeks ago, we'll call it a month ago, before Colorado had been blown out, I was like, you know what? West Virginia is probably the only game this season where Colorado's going to be favored again. And even that was wrong. So I was like, obviously pie in the face here. But yeah, I think Vegas has to be right. They're just going off of what we've seen from these two teams.
Kevin Borba eating crow again. Not Borbtastic, as we like to say in our group chats. I created a thumbnail of Kevin Borba and I just said, that's Borbtastic. I don't know where I got it from. But I've turned your last name into, what's the technical term for that? Would it be an adjective? I don't know.
I like it. I appreciate it. And seasons like this, it's Borbtastic. It's one of the few things to look forward to.
Yeah. So obviously, last storyline is probably Deion's health, right? Mm-hmm. It's a big question. I think a lot of people want to know. The Mercenaries maybe could be you rival that in some ways if you wanted to go that route, but I think Deion's health, you kind of have to wonder what this team would be if he were 100% passion, what he usually is. Mm-hmm. Is he able to micromanage all aspects of the program that needs to be, or is it a good thing that he's not able to, or is he still doing it even though he's still ill?
Yeah, I don't think Deion's taken a step back in any of his roles. I think the hard part was he had cancer in the offseason, right? He had bladder cancer that was diagnosed after the spring game. So he basically returned like for the first game.
He didn't have time to grieve that, probably.
Yeah, like he basically returned for, it wasn't long before the start of the season. And I think that hurt, right? Because you kind of went through those workouts without him. I don't think he probably got to build a connection with everybody as much as he would have liked.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
And then he also, what was it? I think it was the TCU game, I want to say. There's a game, I think it's the TCU game earlier this year, where he was complaining of the pain that he was in because of the blood clots, and he ended up having surgery. Like, the game was on Saturday, he had surgery Monday, and he came back Tuesday. Like, he is definitely dedicated, and I don't want people to think he's not. But I do think there has to be some sort of toll, and there has to be some sort of maybe a disconnect between
diminishing returns, right? I mean, if you're pushing yourself to that limit, you're having surgery, returning the next day, or you have to ask yourself the question, take your ego out of it, and say, am I being present for everybody as best I can in this lesser version of myself physically, right? Because I think you have surgery and your next day you're back to it. I mean, can anybody be 100% after that? I mean, you just want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe delegate and take a little break and come back recharged instead of that. But it's easy to say in hindsight. And I mean, surely in his situation, things aren't going well. So you feel like you have to be there. You have to do it. I get that. Just makes you wonder. What do you think the future is?
Yeah, and I think to go back to him returning so soon, and he said this on Tuesday when speaking to the media. This was a separate thing, but he was talking about why he wasn't letting his players talk to the media, and he says he has like a fatherly vibe or a fatherly mindset. Yeah, and I admire that, and I think that's probably why he's pushing so much to be there, because he wants to be there for. He views himself as a father role or father figure for all 100 of these players, and I think that's great, right? Because not everybody gets that opportunity to have someone of that, or really to have someone be that positive of an influence in their life, right? We all could use one, and so I find it admirable that he's wanting to do that. I do think that the delegation aspect that you mentioned is a little bit difficult and has been something that he'll probably have to work on, and I think that's partially to do with the staff he has around him. I don't know if he set himself up to succeed in terms of like having the people around him to help elevate him. But I think Deion Sanders has said it a few times that he loves coaching and he's built for this, and this gives him purpose. And I don't want to misquote him, but the other day he said he'd rather be what's better for his health, like being involved with this or sitting on his ranch in Texas and fishing, right? Like he is staying active and staying involved in coaching. And I think he'll stick around. And honestly, I don't think he would ever want to end his tenure on a season like what I assume is going to happen.
No, not unless something crazy like the Florida State job came along or something.
Right. And even
I don't even know if that would happen. Even then, I have no clue.
Yeah, probably not Florida State. He wanted that job, or he was believed to want that job when Norvell got hired, and Now he doesn't really claim them as his alma mater. I think it's Talladega College that he'll say is his alma mater. So
Talladega College.
yeah, I think
That's
that's where he
crazy.
graduated from. I think so.
Well, wishing him the best in his health. You know, I mean,
course,
Coach Prime he can be divisive. I think a lot of people, you know, either love or hate him, but nobody wishes what's happened to him on him, and absolutely hope he continues to coach. He's good for the conference. There's a reason you guys are number one in viewership last year, and probably still top 5, I would imagine, in viewership, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably in the Big 12 for sure.
In the Big 12. In the Big 12.
Yeah,
not
they're nationally televised every week, so I'm sure they're getting.
Sorry, I should have put that caveat in. I meant in the Big 12.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Let's go to break then. On that note, you mentioned players. What about players to watch? We've got 2 freshmen in this game that are very talented. One's performing well. Can the other follow suit? In Juju Lewis. This episode of Locked On West Virginia and Locked On Buffs crossover going to be brought to you by our friends at Supply House. We love talking about Supply House, man. You know why? When the whistle blows on a new repair, you can get your crew moving forward with Supply House. You can order today and see parts on your doorstep tomorrow, and you can get over 280,000 plumbing, HVAC, and electrical items for the most trusted brands in the business. Their real-time inventory and honest lead times keep you from punting projects, while their industry-leading customer service always has your blind side covered. You need parts fast for a project? Supply House has next-day delivery. Talk about a game changer. The Trademaster perks like priority shipping and dedicated support make the whole process smoother. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks. You can get priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com to sign up for free and use the promo code SHCOLLEGE5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com, where you can find real people and get real service. Segment 2, I'm going to crack a Diet Dew. Kevin Borba, do you have anything to crack?
Just a little hydro flask, a little water.
A little hydro flask. I usually get showed up on here when it comes to the drinks. I'm like, sugary dew, and then everybody else is like water or whatever else it is, tea.
It's a Jack and Coke on the rocks. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Drink on the job. All right, so I think Colorado may have singularly some of the most talented players in the Big 12. If you look at guys like, I mean, you can go down the line. Julian Lewis would be a great start, or Omarion Miller. Mm-hmm. You know, these are guys that could be best at position at some point in time in the future. Omarion Miller probably in top 5, 6 receivers in the league. Mm-hmm. Give West Virginia, fans and also Colorado fans that are watching a sense of who are the players that West Virginia needs to be watching for. Who do we need to make note of that can make an impact this Saturday if Colorado is going to play well? Yeah,
Julian Lewis is the one you mentioned. He's sort of been the guy that Colorado's been waiting for all year. 5-star freshman, should be a senior in high school right now. He reclassified. He went to one of the bigger, like more prestigious schools in Georgia as a high schooler. And he's sort of been, I don't want to say forgotten about, but they went with Caden Salter, then Ryan Staub, and they just kind of flip-flop back and forth and put him in last week and threw a 59-yard touchdown like right away to Omarion Miller, who really good receiver. Wouldn't surprise me if other programs around the country start trying to tamper with him for next year, because that's just where college football is. A guy who Colorado's going to be without for the first half, Tafik Bayard, a safety, there's not many bright things to say about Colorado's defense, but he is one of the bright spots. Just all-around hustle guy, always in the right spot. He'll probably be playing with a club on his hand because he's been casted up for the past few weeks. But those are the key guys there. And it'll be interesting to see how – because Colorado also has a new play caller. Well, first, the second
Pat Shurmur?
No Pat Shurmur. Apparently that Pat Shurmur did not call plays last week, which, I mean, it didn't go well.
That's news to me. I guess I didn't be paying attention.
Brett Bartolone. Wow. Yeah, he was the offensive coordinator at Jackson State when Shador won MVP. So I think that was 2022.
Oh, yeah. I love those Jackson State teams. I think all of them did.
Yeah, and so he was the OC in 2022. He called plays last week, and it didn't go well, but also didn't have the right quarterbacks working with
It's
him. So
crazy.
yeah.
It's crazy that he got Travis Hunter to go there.
I mean, the biggest day in recruiting history, probably the craziest thing.
Who was the other 4-star guy they had there?
Oh man, they had.
I think he came with him when he came to Colorado, Jackson State.
They had a few of them. I'm trying to think of them.
Well, either way, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I just remember, Travis Hunter was the big name guy, and we all knew Shadur. Well, actually, Shadur was pretty under recruited as well, wasn't he? I mean,
he was like a 3-star by most standards.
And just should have easily been a 5-star.
Yeah, no, he was good. He was good. I think it was just because he played at a smaller school, weaker competition in Texas. But yeah, no, I think Colorado's got they have a lot of big names, and I think Cyncir Brown is another receiver to look out for. He's 6'5", squinty as a twig. But the other day or earlier in the season, the season feels like it's moving quick. I don't know why, but
sadly,
he was clocked at like 22 miles per hour, 21 miles per hour.
It's pretty good.
He's fast, yeah. So Colorado's got some guys. Tell me about the West Virginia guys, right? I think we need to circle some guys. Who is Scotty Fox going to be rushing for 300 yards against Colorado? Is that the name to know?
Scotty Fox is the guy that Rich Rod said it best. When we had Pat White was so elite as a runner, you could make a case that he's the greatest running quarterback in college football history. And that's not even an exaggeration, right? He was the all-time leading rusher when he left and was undefeated in bowl games, the first player ever to win 4 bowl games. Those don't come around very often. But what he was so good at was Rich Rod said, if I made a mistake on a play call, he could erase it. He'd make a guy miss, turn a broken play into a big play. Well, Scotty Fox isn't that with his legs, but he is a above average runner for sure. Like I wouldn't say, he's not a Kyler Murray, but he's definitely not a statue.
Is it
where he's
okay? Let's go. Is he on a scale of like? We'll go Devin Dampier to Haynes King, or not maybe Haynes King is.
Haynes King's a good comparison.
Okay, he torched Colorado, so that's a concern there. He ran for
I
like
don't know
150.
if the top end speed Haynes King has, but as far as acceleration, how quickly does he get into it? Because I think that's the thing about college football or football in general people don't talk about enough. There are some guys that are really, really, really fast, but it takes them 2 or 3 steps to get there. Sometimes acceleration to get to that speed doesn't always happen really fast. So there's been running backs where whenever we recruited him, I'm like, holy crap, that dude's fast. But he's got like a 5 or 6 step run. He hits the hole and he's gone. And some guys just need a couple steps to get up to speed, right? Yeah. So I don't know what brought me into that point, but Scotty Fox is like that. He takes a couple steps, and then once he gets up to speed, he's a fast guy. He's definitely not slow by any means. I just don't think he's an elite. He hasn't shown to be elite yet running. Maybe he'll grow into that. Where he has the potential to be like a Shadur is with his arm. He's a very talented thrower of the football. Kind of reminds me of a young Josh Hoover in some ways. I don't know if he has that gifted of an arm, but he's got some of that ability where he can throw from a bunch of arm angles. He can really, really spin it. And the thing that makes him really impressive right now anyways, and now maybe, the DC at Colorado will dial some things up to confuse him. He hasn't really, since early in the season, these last couple games, made any mistakes. And we're talking about even routine stuff, like when you just need to throw it away and not press, or, okay, I'm going to take this shot and it's where my guy's going to get it or nobody else gets it. Things that you see veteran quarterbacks do, sure. But a guy who had 30 dropbacks 2 weeks ago before his first start coming into TCU, very impressive stuff, right? So he's really shown. And I said coming into the year, Kevin, to add on to this, our receiving room I felt like was one of the best in the Big 12. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. But we were the worst Power 4 offensive line by a large margin for the better half of until 3 weeks ago. And some things finally changed. We ran out the same starting 5 guys all the way through a 5-game losing streak and didn't change anything until TCU, and then it all changed. And we finally played some other people.
That's Colorado 2023, 2024 right there. Worst offensive line in the Power 4.
Yeah.
They get it. They get it over here, Boulder.
So Cam Bond is a guy you're going to want to keep your eyes on. I think
Okay.
he's somebody that I've said this multiple times this year. He would start it in Alabama. He would start it in LSU. He's that talented. Jeff Weimer is a guy that he's one of those guys that are going to put you in a blender, right? And really make you look silly on routes. He's really big and he can block well. So that's your other guy. And then one other guy on offense is Diore Hubbard, who had almost 100 yards after contact last week. He's a redshirt freshman as well. So he really, I say almost 100, it was like 60. So, as fans, we like to exaggerate. But, he's a guy that's really coming on strong and was great in the spring game. On defense, it's Fred Perry. He had 12 tackles last week. He's one of the best nickel safeties in the country, much less the Big 12. Came over from Jack State. He's one of those guys that really plays with fire. He's been ejected multiple times in his career. He's had multiple targetings. He's always making the big hit. So if you're coming across the middle, look for Fred Perry. And last but not least, you got to go Jamori Robinson. We were wondering because he was our highest priced offseason prize. That's a tongue twister.
Yeah, that was tough.
We probably paid him $1 million.
I was scared for you.
Yeah. We probably paid $1 million. I mean, he came over. He was the defensive player of the year in the American Conference, which is, in a lot of cases, pretty close to Power Four. Some teams, some years, and he dominated all those guys last year. Was by far the best defender in the league, and then had to sit out 3 games for West Virginia, and then before we knew it, he was finally playing because the judge ruled in his favor, and then he didn't make a play for 6 weeks, 5 weeks, whatever it was. I'm talking about 1 tackle. And it's not a talent thing, right? Was he engaged? The team was losing a bunch. He didn't come in shape, we heard. Now he is. And he really showed up last week and was a terror. So that's another guy that if he's got it going, it just changes things for West Virginia. And, we're a top 25 team in sacks this year. Somehow, even though we went 3 or 4 weeks without a sack somehow. But we just have these spurts where we just get 4 or 5 sacks at a time. So maybe you can help with that.
Yeah, I think those matchups will be interesting. I think the pressure too for Colorado is this offensive line is like worlds better than the one last year, and the 2023 was atrocious. Like I think they probably would have struggled to block any commenter. But no, this year's offensive line is great. It makes you really wonder, or not great, but a lot better compared to those two, and it makes you wonder like what would have been had Shedeur Sanders or had this line been here last year. It's like, does Colorado lose any Big 12 games? We don't know. But the thing that Colorado's really struggled with, and that last player you mentioned is the one that perks me up a little bit, is Colorado struggled against teams that are willing to bring the blitz. Like Utah blitzed Caden Salter to death. Like they just nonstop, and they rattled him. And Colorado's offensive line, and Coach Prime said this the other day, like the cat's out of the bag. All they have to do is blitz us, and that's it. Like, so we'll see if West Virginia was taking notes on that.
Well, I'll say this, and this is not an exaggeration. Zach Alley blitzes more than any coordinator in the Big 12. He blitzes over 50% of the time.
And I mean, if you're Colorado, I mean, especially Brett Bartolone, the new play caller, you really got to find something to make it easy for Julian Lewis, right? We saw how poorly the offensive line reacted to being blitzed against Utah. And so if you have Julian Lewis back there waiting for guys to run routes that are 10 to 15 yards down the field, it might be a little bit of a challenging day.
Might be. We'll see what happens there. On the other side, guys, one more break. And we're going to talk about it. Game keys and a prediction. Is Vegas wrong? Is Colorado going to win this game and overcome this 6.5-point thing? Kevin probably says yes after the break. This episode of Locked On West Virginia and Locked On Colorado Buffs crossover is going to be brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. You have that, Reed?
I do. If you want me to hit it, I got you.
Yeah, it seems like I must have exited out of mine somehow.
Yeah, let me get you going here. So this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA season is upon us. So there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. Keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. And right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Thank you for that, Kevin. I guess I don't know. I was maneuvering around, moving some screen because you ever have too many screens open when you're doing your show?
All the time.
Yeah. So I was trying to get rid of a couple because it was like they were like this big.
Yeah.
Because I like to have all the data at the ready if I need it.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have clicked off the FanDuel thing, and I went to go through Podio again and do all that. So, anyways, we're live here, and we don't edit on this show, so they'll hear this, but it's all good.
Part of the magic.
It's part of the magic. Yeah, people like it. I think I've gone until this week. I had gone live 400 and something days in a row. I didn't miss a day for over 400 days. So
that's in the business. I'm telling you.
Well, I don't know about that, but I definitely was very consistent.
No one in the Big 12 goes as hard as Mountaineer Paul.
Try not to.
Borbtastic, as some might say.
Borbtastic. Yeah. You do really good over there too, man. Especially when Colorado's playing well. You got them Colorado fans are crazy over there.
It's a lot easier to cover a team when they're winning. And as we both know, this year, it's very challenging, right? For you guys, I'm sure some people are like, was Rich Rod the right hire? For Colorado, it's like, okay, what can we do? Like, we gotta. People are.
Is that a question you would have asked me had you hosted today? Was Rich Rod the right hire?
I don't like firing coaches. I always tell this story. My very first job so I worked at the Pac-12 network, and then I covered Stanford for Sports Illustrated, and I was there during David Shaw's last year, and it was a bad team. They had good talent, bad performance. They were 3-9 for like the third or fourth year in a row, and I remember asking David Shaw to his face, do you feel like you're the right person for this job? And it was the right question to ask, but there is a human element to this. And I feel like as sports fans, we often forget that, where it's fire this guy, fire that guy. And it's they are people too. You got to give them the benefit of the doubt, especially someone like Rich Rod, who, I don't say put West Virginia on the map because I don't want to mention West Virginia, but when I think of West Virginia, I think of that era. So,
right. Yeah. Yeah. You have to get to your, there is an era before him that was as good, but it's less known about, obviously, because it's just those guys are older now, right? West Virginia obviously played in the 88 national championship game against Notre Dame, and that was Don Nehlen. But, obviously because of when Rich Rod came up into power, that was right around the time smartphones came out, was the end of his tenure was when smartphones came out, 2008 or 9. So, obviously easier access to his era than the one before it, I think, has something to do with it. Just like the Table and Austin highlight tape, most watched one ever.
I was in middle school when that thing dropped. That era, I was like, 12,
it's crazy. I know the guy that dropped it. I tried to buy that YouTube channel from him.
Oh man,
I did, because it's got close to 100K, something like that, subs.
Yeah.
And then I thought, but I don't know if it works like that. I don't know if people would watch. Just a West Virginia centric channel. It's where did this come from?
Yeah.
So, if Colorado wins this game, what's that look like? What are your game keys?
So Colorado wins this game. Julian Lewis is smart and decisive with the ball. He looked pretty decisive last week and was quick with it. Whereas Caden Salter,
he's got some arm talent.
He does.
He's got some arm talent.
He zips it in there. And Caden Salter was, for a fifth-year senior, it seemed like he was constantly lost or overwhelmed, and that's not really.
He transferred a year too late, in my opinion.
He probably did, right? And he got benched last year at Liberty as well. So, but Julian Lewis, he's got to make the right decisions. They got to draw up plays for him to sort of find his confidence. Because again, I think he turned 18, but realistically, he should be getting ready for high school prom, not for West Virginia. That's just how it is. He's that young.
Yeah.
So make life easy for him defensively. You got to stop the run. That's there. I wish I could give you more profound keys, but Utah rushed for over 400 yards against Colorado last week against Arizona's not even known for running the ball that well, and they were getting whatever they wanted on the ground. They rushed for 204 yards. It's just been bad, right? Make plays on offense, make plays on defense. As simple as that sounds, that's kind of where Colorado's at this point.
Well, I mean, obviously running the ball is what West Virginia wants to do. That's what Rich Rod's offense is.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what Gus Malzahn does, except Rich Rod does it way better. And I mean that. He's a better play caller, in my opinion. He's also just runs the big thing about Rich Rod is hard edged, right? That's kind of what this program is built on. So I think West Virginia, if they win this game, is going to out physical Colorado. I think they're going to be the tougher team. I think that's what's going to need to happen, and I think that probably will happen. I think the other game key I have is it's kind of a weird one, but is Colorado bought out, right? Are they? Because West Virginia is buying in right now. They've got this new freshman quarterback that's succeeding. So I'll turn that into a game point and say, if you let Colorado have early success, everybody could buy in real quick on this new kid, right? And that could snowball on you really quick. So put the fire out early, kill his confidence quick, let the stadium get involved. It's one of the loudest stadiums in the Big 12. So, it should be pretty well full, even in a bad year for us. Cause havoc. And then last but not least, I think West Virginia I still think we're going to have to score 30 points to win the game. I think you guys are going to move the ball some on us. I think you have talent. I mean, it's not like we're playing Houston last week, who had been 3 yards in a cloud of dust almost all year. Like, they really were methodical coming into that game. It's kind of what the stats said about them in the data. And you guys are really not that. You guys are a spread team that likes to try to score quick. Can you do that?
Lives and dies by the big play. And if you can't get a big play, like the last two games, they've been down 17-0 at least in the first quarter, right? So we found out pretty quickly how bought in Colorado was the past 2 weeks. And
your DBs are hurt right now. I'm sorry I cut you off.
No, you're good. Yeah, the DBs are banged up. Yeah,
that's what I thought I heard Coach Prime say.
Yeah, defensive line's banged up.
It's not gonna be good for y'all, I don't think. But we'll see.
No, it's the defense is to go from a defense who I think you said you were leading the Big 12 in sacks, if I'm not mistaken. Colorado was leading the Big.
I don't know if we are anymore, but we were at one point in time.
Colorado led the Big 12 in sacks last year, and it was like tenacious. It was like, oh, we have so many guys we could throw at you. And like this year, it just feels like they're missing a lot. And you talked about your transfer. His name's slipping my mind from the American
Robinson.
Yeah. So Colorado had one of those two. His name is Jaheim Otis, transferred in from Bama. A Nick Saban recruit.
I remember when he was on the market.
Yeah, like he was a big deal. He was at one point the number one player in the portal, and then just hasn't got the buy-in, right? There was a video.
James Salters was one of them too.
Yeah, no, in Colorado, I think this is the unfortunate part is, and this goes for anyone, right? Like Texas Tech is having a lot of success because one, they're spending a lot of money, obviously, but they're hitting.
They're hitting. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think people miss that part where it's like you could spend $1 billion on a roster, but if you spend $1 billion on the wrong people, it doesn't work out. And so unfortunately, Colorado has seemingly spent the money on the wrong people. And I think, and I'll just sort of lead us into our predictions here is I keep predicting. So funny story, this is just the Kevin Borba eating crow special. Before that Utah game, I was like, Utah starting a true freshman who at the time had thrown 9 passes all season. I think most of his passes had come against Cal Poly. So I was like, obviously Colorado wins this game, right? He's rattle him, obviously, as one does. And they get blown up by like 75 points. And then last week I was like, you know what? Arizona's not the best team. Like they lost gold. Yeah, 2 straight games in a row, heartbreakers, right? They lost in overtime to BYU.
They were bad last year.
And they were bad last year. They lost the other game that was really close to someone else. And I was like, Colorado. And so I'm not going to do that again. I feel like, and even Chad Brown, when he was on my show, this is coming from a literal Colorado legend. Like if you go to the facilities, there are pictures of him on the wall. He says that he thinks this team has kind of quit. And I think everyone in Colorado, and I think everyone around Colorado would agree. And I'm certainly there. And I feel like you get up 100 points in 2 weeks. I don't feel like there's a lot to be proud of. So I think Colorado loses this game, and I'm going to have a hard time picking them to win the rest of the season, honestly, until they show me something.
I think, to your point too, it looks pretty bad, right? But I do think, like I said earlier, early success could be the number one key for Colorado.
Yeah, I
Just
mean, if
give
Colorado
everybody a
starts off
reason to
hot,
buy in. Yeah.
yeah, if everybody gets their swagger back a little bit, everyone's gonna be like, okay, here we are, right? Because
Yeah, you're still chasing bowl eligibility.
exactly. I was just about to say that.
This thing in real time if you're Colorado.
Yeah,
You go into West Virginia and get a win. I'm not praying for that at all, but just speaking for the other side. You go into West Virginia and get a win. If you're Coach Prime, we're still capable of getting to a bowl game. We could win 7 games, y'all. This could be a successful season.
Yeah.
You at least got to preach it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the hell's the point if you're not? So, and I'm sure, and I know they're all process oriented, focus on the next rep and all that, but sometimes you got to dangle the carrot, especially if people are checking out on you. West Virginia is, like I said, the opposite situation right now. We're chasing. We feel like we can win the next 2 games. Arizona State, not unbeatable, certainly without their quarterback.
right.
And I think this is, 2 games we can win. Then you've got to pull off a miracle against Tech. If you won 3 in a row going into that, most people would say you have a chance.
Yeah.
Rich Rodriguez has done this so many times over his career, and then I'll get to my prediction. We'll go. Last year at Jack State, I've still got the graphic. I kept it for so long because, this is Jack State last year. That they brought in 60 new players. It took them a long time to get going. They started out 0-3. They won 8 in a row and won the league.
Great graphic.
Rich Rodriguez's teams get better as the year goes on. It's just what happens. The way he wants things it's different than, and I know everybody wants to be different. Rich Rod even says this himself. Like, we get it. People say they're different. Well, what Rich Rod requires really is different because it requires you to be the most physically and mentally tough team. Literally, not just saying it, actually. The things they put them through, there's a reason only certain types of guys can play for him. And the ones that do, like Pat McAfee and company, will put their entire neck on the line for him because he just brings an element of, oh my God. And even Coach Prime mentioned the toughness in his thing. So I think West Virginia wins the game. I think they probably, it's going to be closer than, I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think West Virginia can do something like they did last week against Houston, maybe a 30-20, 30-17, something like that.
Holding a team below 50 would be nice. Again,
well, I mean, we're capable of scoring more. I just trying to lean a little conservatively because I don't
3 weeks of
like we're the next best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be a good game. I do. I feel like Julian Lewis is like, I mean, if you can't get up for your 5-star freshman quarterback making his first career start, you may as well mail it in for the rest of the year and decline to play the games, right? Like, I don't think they would, obviously, but like, if you can't get up for this game, if you can't get up for, like you said, bowl eligibility is still on the table.
This environment's going to be great too.
Yeah, it's going to be. And like, Colorado hasn't been playing in front of empty stadiums, and so it's like, figure it out, or I guess get out. Right? That's sort of at the point here where it's like, I think there's certain guys, and I'll end on this, is like Colorado had this. I think it's 38 seniors and grad students for probably, we'll say 30 of them to be generous. This is the last 3 games of their football career. Like, do you want to go out just being like, yeah, I played my last few games and I was like, whatever? Or do you want to go out and be like, we were terrible for the first 9 games and then we won out, made it to a bowl game? Like, I think there's a lot on the line here, even though there's not like national playoff stakes here, but there's a lot on the line for people.
Building blocks. Do you want to leave something for the next team that comes into Colorado, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, maybe Colorado plays young guys this week and not tanking, but sometimes you got to get ready for the next year. Yeah. I think Rich Rod and company have been close to doing that a couple of times. They kept putting the same guys back out there. And then finally 2 weeks ago against TCU, they changed things up a little bit finally on the offensive line and other places and played guys that are going to be here next year and not the same 5 seniors that they bought in the portal. Sometimes just because players are seniors doesn't mean they're better. Mm-hmm. It'll be a fun game. Hopefully Coach Prime's feeling well for it. Certainly wish him all the best. Love him to death. And, hate to hear about the struggles he's gone through and all that this year. But we need West Virginia to win this game for a lot of reasons. We have a lot. Colorado, you guys financially are in a spot where as long as Coach Prime's there, you're going to be okay, right? You're going to have what you need. We really need to finish this year strong so that we can hit that 10 mil outside the cap number that Rich Rod's talking about, 10 to 13 million, he said. He said if we can get 10 to 13 million outside the cap, that means the cap plus 10 to 13, we'll be able to compete. And that's what Texas Tech spent this year. So I think a lot of teams are aiming for that, knowing that they're going to expand. BYU's probably going to expand. You guys are probably going to expand. But at least you'll be in the ballpark. So fun game. Lot to play for still, even though 2-3 win teams. I'm passionate about it, and I know you are too, Kevin. Tell everybody where they can find you real quick before we jump out of here.
Yeah, over at Locked On Buffs every single day, wherever you get your podcast, just like this one here. And I'm over at Athlon Sports as well, writing about all things college football, NFL, and everything in between.
For Kevin, man, I appreciate you guys so much for joining in, and thank you for coming on, brother, and doing this crossover with me. It's been fun.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, guys. What the Buffaloes? What do you guys say? What you're saying? Like we have Q Country Roads. Do you guys have something?
They have SCO Buffs.
SCO Buffs. Okay, so for Kevin, SCO Buffs, and don't forget to always Q them Country Roads. Oh, by the way, Locked On Big 12. Watch it. Direct toll. Really good job. We'll see you the next time.